of the gate, JT Clay Baker's back. How about that? We got Clay in studio. We're ready to roll today. We're always ready to roll. We're only talking sports. So you better be ready to talk sports every day when I come on. We stream live on YouTube. Little bit of a Wi-Fi issue today on the roof. Hopefully it doesn't break our stream. We're on radio on 920 in Vegas. We're streaming on the Raiders mobile app. And you can find us at LV Sports Network. There's a lot of ways to listen. None of it's perfect, I guess. I built this YouTube page to have a little backup in case something happens and we go down. And that's what we do here every day. We find topics for 2 hours. Had a long week, man. I did 6 hours yesterday. I don't deserve a medal or a juice box. 6 is about my limit now. After 30 years of radio, 6 hours is about my limit. So that was a long couple of days. World Cup, summertime radio, not a lot of sports going on. No World Cup today. I don't rate chicken sandwiches. I don't do top 10 movies. I could. They'd let me do whatever I want. So I can go and do the top 10 sports movies of all time from 10 to 1. That would kill an hour. We'd play movie bites, and we can play a little bit of Kevin Costner in Field of Dreams or something. But I think there's plenty of sports to talk about. And when we find a time when there's no more sports, I'll be long gone on a beach somewhere. But we got the Raiders to hit on. I got some things to say on that. Gambling talk today. We got one of our greatest guests of all time, Bill Krackomberger. Crack wins. He's amazing. He just did his award-winning podcast this morning. I did my podcast this morning with Looney. I reached out to him, and he can't wait to come on. We're going to talk about gambling, casinos, everything. It's going to be great, and he's going to do all the work. I just wind him up and let him go. So Crack at the bottom of the hour. One of the newsmen, that is my good friend in town, Dana Wagner, will join us at 1. He's a lunatic Dodger fan. Oh, my God. Whenever we get together and have a vodka, an Aspen vodka together, he is just chirping. Dodgers, Dodgers, Dodgers. Between him and Harry Ruiz, I got more Dodger fans, man, rubbing this dynasty that they're going to have in my face. Dana Wagner at the top of the hour. And then we'll figure out the rest of it. So I want to hear from you today. Let's get going. We're about 2 weeks away from the Raiders. We're about 2 weeks out from the Raiders. For me, about 2 weeks, and then it goes balls out because we got shows we're doing from Raiders headquarters, going to Houston. I think we're doing shows from there. And then we jump into the season. And as I told you, not that it's that important, but it's important to me, is that I work 6 days a week during football season. The only day I have off is Saturday because I work a triple on Sunday, pre and post game, and Mad Dog. And then we do Monday to Friday on Radio Nation Radio, and I do Sunday, Monday, Tuesday on Mad Dog on Sirius XM. And the problem is this year is we don't have any other games other than Sunday. So I don't have a Sunday off until the bye week, Clay Baker, which is week 13. So someone there in Park Avenue in New York said in a meeting, I'm guessing, not only are we not going to give the Raiders a Monday night game, we're not going to give them a Thursday night game, we're not going to give them a Sunday night game, we're going to give them nothing but Sunday, 105, 125, and then we're going to make them wait till week 13. Clay, how do you feel about a week 13 bye week for your show?
I think it's going to be one in which we're all going to be delaying any sort of party or event up until that point. Your birthday party may have to take place on week 13. You know what I mean?
November 23rd. Everybody forgets my birthday because I was actually born on Thanksgiving. But let me see where November 23rd is this year. Let me look here. I don't want to sound like Mike Francesa scrolling. Never. My birthday stinks this year. It's on a Monday. And I got a triple on the Monday. I got a TV with the Raiders. I got 2 radio shows. So Monday, November 23rd is a Monday. I like birthdays on Friday and Saturday or Thursday nights where I could take off Friday. So anyway, Christmas this year is on a Friday. December 25th is on a Friday. And we just had July 4th, as you know, on a Saturday. I like when July 4th's on a Wednesday. So we get off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So the bye week's going to take a while to get to. And by the bye week, we're going to learn a lot. You know, I just think some of these people who say on the radio, Well, the bye week could work out great for us. And there goes the Wi-Fi. Goodbye, Wi-Fi. Goodbye, Wi-Fi. Thanks for knowing your Wi-Fi. We'll see you later. What happens when you get to the bye week in week 13, you know who you are by then. You either know you're the Raiders and, Kirk Cousins didn't win a lot, so you threw Fernando in, or Kirk Cousins was winning a lot and Fernando's not in, and you got a chance to make the playoffs. You're going to learn a lot by week 13. So that's what we're going to do this year. We're going to have games on Sunday, and that's it. And we're going to have, a 6-day-a-week schedule, and that's what comes up this year, and I'm honored to be a part of all of that. So I'm excited about all that, and we'll get that going here. So on the Raiders front, as we've been talking about, most of the Raiders news, I think if you've been following the Raiders and you're listening to a flagship station or you watch ESPN, not a lot of people are watching NFL Network anymore. But if you are watching that, there's two trains of thought when it comes to the Raiders. Number one is they're going to be good. They're going to be better than anybody's giving them credit for because they got new players. They got new players all over this franchise. So they're going to be better. Or you have the people that are just saying, same old Raiders. Raiders aren't going to do anything. Prove it to me. Let's wait until we see what they can do. Prove it to me. And I got to do a radio show with all those people. I got to do the radio show with all of those people wondering if it's going to work or not. I hope it works. I think if they get off to a good start and the Raiders open up and the Raiders are there and they open up and they beat Miami and they beat New Orleans, then at a minimum, we're going to be 2-2. At a maximum, we're going to be 3-1. Sorry, you 4-0 lunatics. It ain't probably happening. But I ain't going to say that to the head coach. You want to win every game. But we're going to know what happens this season simply starting July 28th when the veterans show up. That's when I'll show up. Nothing against the rookies showing up, but I'm waiting for the veterans on July 28th. And then we're going to see how they run their practices, but we're only going to get a look at it. I get a little bit of an extra look because I'll be doing the games and will be a chance to see a little bit more and get some different type of conversations going on with the coaches. And then there's going to be preseason games, only 2 of them, because the third game is going to be the national game in Houston, which we're not a part of. That's our national game this year. The Scoundrels gave us a Thursday night preseason game like it's a gift. That's it. And then we're going to see what happens when the season starts. I'm optimistic the season's going to start off really strong. I don't predict wins and losses. There's nothing for me to predict. I have no idea how many games they're going to win. You'll hear a lot of streamers and podcasters give you 9, give you 7, give you 8. I have no idea. I want them to win every game. You know me, I hate tanking. People rip on me because they want to lose. I don't want to lose. I don't care. 30 years in, I don't give a crap what anybody thinks anymore. I just don't predict wins. I don't predict wins. And I'll never admit that we're going to lose a game ever. I'll never go into a game saying we're going to lose. That's a fireable offense. That's a fireable offense. Imagine working for Al Davis's franchise, now owned by Mark Davis, and going on the radio thinking, oh, we're going to lose 3 out of 4. Imagine that if they're listening in the car that day. Imagine that. The phone call I'd get at midnight. Pack it up. Clean out your locker. Okay, we want to win every game. As Fred Biletnikoff says, you win every game. You don't compete, you win every game when you play football in the NFL. You never look ahead. You never look and say, we're not going to win that one, but 2 weeks later we're going to win. But this team only won 3 games last year. And a lot of games that I thought they'd be competitive in, they were uncompetitive. And in a lot of games where I thought maybe they could hang around, they'd hang around and then they played their worst football when it mattered and lose. Last year, this team was really good at losing games. Really good. And then they got to the point at the end of the year, which you know, everybody was looking, let's rest some guys. Brock doesn't have to play because he played injured for most of the year. Max had surgery, was going to have surgery, so he didn't play down the stretch. And because of all that, the Raiders got the number 1 pick overall, who I think could be a franchise game changer in Fernando Mendoza. So that's where we're at. No need for me to talk about special teams. I don't care. I don't care today about special teams because I know whatever I say today will not matter. It will not matter at all. They're going to choose the special teams players who are on the fringe of getting cut, who are going to make the roster of the 53, and the special teams will be played out with the wide receivers left and the linebackers who might get cut, who will make the team to play special teams. Why in God's name would I talk about that on July 8th? Right? I don't care. I'm going to talk about that the week of cuts. Who's going to make the team? Vinny Bonsignore, going to have Jesse Merrick, everybody on. Hey, who's going to be the bubble guy who can make the team? We'll talk about it then. What we're talking about now is a culture change. A lot of the other cultures as coaches, and you can clip this if you want, a lot of the culture around this team since it moved to Vegas was at the highest level of NFL history for hires. John Gruden, one of the greatest culture warriors I've ever seen in my life. All the guy cared about was winning. He loved the Raiders. He would lay on a railroad track for the Raiders. He would do his son works for the Raiders. John Gruden loves the Raiders. All he wanted to do was win. Okay, so that happened. Rich Bisaccia, he wanted to win. Pretty good coach, special teams coach. Didn't have a lot of head coaching experience. He was a guy who was around good football teams, wanted to win. Josh McDaniels, like him or not, you don't like him, came from the greatest culture in the modern history of the NFL. There's no culture that's been closer to what the Patriots did under Belichick and Brady and McDaniels and Vrabel than that way. Didn't work here. Wow, that's a book. That's a book. Goodbye, Wi-Fi. Again, that's a book on, the culture that didn't work. The Patriot way did not work. But we still have Tom Brady here, and Tom Brady's culture is at the highest level of personal achievement. Then we had a guy named Antonio Pierce. God, you want to talk about a guy who wanted to win? He won a Super Bowl with the New York Giants. He single-handedly made plays in Lambeau Field against Brett Favre that led to a Super Bowl. He wanted to win. He loved the Raiders. He was ready to win. Didn't work. And then we brought in one of the greatest culture leaders in the history of the modern NFL. Pete Carroll, you can't touch his culture. It's already engraved. It's already engraved in stone in Seattle. The culture of Pete Carroll was automatic. Automatic, compete from Seattle, Legion of Boom, LOB. Great culture. Top 10 in the last 50 years. Easily, Pete Carroll didn't work. Wow, didn't work? The Patriot way didn't work with McDaniels? The Seattle culture didn't work here? Maybe it didn't work because we didn't have enough players. We didn't have enough players. That's why it didn't work. The scheme was supposed to be okay. The coaches have these great track records, and none of it worked because we didn't have the players. And now we seem to be getting better players under John Spytek. We are getting better players under John Spytek who are going to be a part of this version of this culture that are going to go out and win games. I'm all for it. Last couple of ones didn't work, and I was kind of shocked by it. I actually thought a couple of them would work, and I really was sincere about it. I really thought it would work. It didn't work. I'm a season ticket holder. I dealt with what you dealt with. I dealt with a culture that did not work but had great intentions, unbelievable intentions the entire time. Didn't work. Now we have Clint Kubiak. He's different. He's all ball. He's all ball. Okay, it's not about high fives. It's not about jump shots. It's not about flexing. Put your selfie camera away. Leave your camera in your locker room. Shut it off. We don't want to hear about this. We're here to play ball. And this is the new start that we're going to have with the Raiders. And everybody should be excited and on board. When you ask people, Clay, to get on board every year, get on board. This is going to be different. This is going to be different. And it gets worse. It's tough to tell people to get on board, right? I'm aware of that. But I think this time it's different because Kubiak just won a Super Bowl with an offense that was insane. And he's coming here with Mendoza, Linderbaum, Genti, and Bowers. And that looks really good on paper.
And you have a look of what do the good franchises do to get better. And often when they go into an upheaval, they go and find the young offensive coordinator that is working on the new schemes that get teams ahead because they score more and they're more sound offensively. That was majorly lacking for the Raiders in a long time. So when you get people to at least try to convince to get on board, you could say I can get on board with this offense.
Yeah.
Because every offense he's ever worked with has been better once he's been there.
Yeah, I mean, it's really easy to get on board. To get on board with this offense does not seem to be a reach. And then I'm really on board with Robbie Leonard, who I know as good as any coach I know in the building. I think that Rob Leonard being elevated to defensive coordinator, guy who's coached Max Crosby from the start here, I think that Rob Leonard will do a great job in having a fair chance at winning here with a new defense that has a whole bunch of new players. Right? So you're going to have a new defense. Look, I can tell you this, everybody. Believe me or not, I think everybody knows that I'm passionate. That's a check. I think everybody knows I want to win. Right? You know that. Check the box. And look, if you think I'm too much of a homer, okay. But with all that being said, I could tell you, if this team didn't get 7 new starters on defense, I'd be scratching my head. I'd be sitting around like you going, another year? We got to wait another year for another draft and free agency? What are we doing? No, I don't have to do that now. I'm really excited for what John Spytek did to upgrade the roster. And the roster has been updated significantly with the money that John Spytek had to spend, the amount of players he went out and got who were really good, right? You look at Nakobe Dean, Quay Walker, and Tyler Linderbaum. Those aren't bums. Those aren't guys in their 12th year that are kind of playing out their career. They might have a little bit left in the tank, and it's the only guys we can get here. We got a lot of good guys. And these guys can win games. And they played in cultures that in the fourth quarter, they don't wilt. And now Max Crosby's going to be able to look around in the fourth quarter and go, wow, Tyler Linderbaum's out there. I'm going to get some water because Genty's running downhill behind Linderbaum, and I don't have to go out on the field in another 30 seconds as we punt. That's how this thing gets fixed quickly. Can you establish the running game to be an intense running game with Washington Jr. and Genty, with Linderbaum leading the point of attack, where the running game is going to be so improved that you don't have to pass it a lot. You only have to pass it when you need it. And when you do pass, the defense is going to be all over the place wondering if you're going to Bowers, if you're going up top, if you're going to throw it to Genty on a screen, because Kubiak is a wizard calling these new plays. I mean, can you imagine how many plays he has that we're not even aware of? Can you imagine what Kubiak's been cooking up? Can you imagine what Kubiak's doing at night after dinner when the kids go to bed and he goes downstairs like he used to with his dad and John Elway? John Elway and his dad in his kitchen when he was a boy, and they were drawing up all those plays. I mean, I'm really excited about what this coach can do. So I'm excited today, other than the Wi-Fi. We have Dana Wagner joining us. We have Bill Krackomberger at the bottom of the hour, who's very good. And then we're going to string the show together with new sound and a lot to say. Today's the first day without any World Cup football, right? Your soccer fans, the first day. Then I'm not looking around going, wait a second, I want World Cup. Clay, I haven't seen you for a while. I've loved the World Cup. I don't like it. I went a week ago last Sunday to L.A. I saw a game. I saw the atmosphere. I've been watching every game. I saw Messi have one of the greatest performance comebacks ever. I'm seeing Norway take over stadiums with their rowboats. I just think this has been magical. How have you enjoyed the World Cup?
It's great. In the United States, the field looks great. Even Vancouver, fantastic. It's something that you can really appreciate when you see the best athletes in a sport going head-to-head. And it's not just the best athletes in a sport for other countries, because other than the United States, it's the best athletes of their country.
Yes.
And everybody is going all out. People were complaining yesterday with Argentina and Egypt that Argentina was holding back, they're waiting to come back. Like, come on, like nobody is holding back. You see everybody going all out, especially now that we're down to the quarterfinals, and having this day off is probably good, but you can't beat the kind of action, the kind of passion you're getting out of these games.
And I think it's been very controversial. Our president of the United States rescinded a red card. He did, and I'm okay with it. Not because of politics. I don't care if it was Joe Biden, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump. I don't care. If they could pick up the phone and tell FIFA, look, you got to look at that again. That wasn't a foul, and they got it done. I'm okay. People who are politically triggered and freaking out are like, you can't do that. No, you can. Everybody's got a phone. I got a phone. If I can talk to the head of FIFA and say, hey, that wasn't a red card, I have no problem with that. None. But the rest of the world does. I watch this football soccer show every night on Netflix. It's 3 British guys. It's great. It's great. I can't believe I don't know the name of it. I have it in my Twitter. And I'm watching it last night, and they were hard on us. They were hard on the United States. They were not very excited about the topics that we were talking about. They really believe that the United States used their power. Yeah, The Rest is Football is the name of the show. It's live on Netflix. Former England soccer players and guests, and these guys are hardcore. These are the guys who grew up in the hooligan era, and they got strong opinions. It's good. And they weren't happy. And then Argentina won yesterday on a foul at the end of the field. The Egyptian goes 120 yards, 102 or 120 scores. They take the goal away. Egypt would have won 3-0, game over. And they took it away. And guess how they did? Instant replay. The VAR, oh boy, instant replay screwed Egypt. As Clay reminded you, Egypt is a country. That wasn't Cairo FC playing Real Madrid. That was the whole country of Egypt lost their World Cup. Wow, that's really good sports, man. That's intense. So I love talking World Cup if you want to get through. I'm going to have Bill Krackomberger coming up next. So the big topic that I'm going to give out is on my X. I'm going to tell you, but I want to take your phone calls. So the last couple of days, Clay, we were talking about the infrastructure of American soccer and how bad it is at the youth level. I found out, as I'm studying this topic, I'm finding out that more of these soccer coaches are using young kids, boys and girls, to build these club teams, take extreme money in sign-up fees, become loud a-holes, run up and down the sideline, yell at the kids, and keep the money. And parents are spending money to play soccer, and all their kids quit. At some point, they never go on to play in college, like less than 1%. I was like, wow, I didn't know that. I thought soccer parents were nice. I thought they just wanted to have their kids run off some energy in the morning and have a cup of coffee, a latte. Every time I look out the window and I see a soccer game, there's a bunch of hot Summerlin moms having an iced latte, watching their kids run up and down. They're not even talking to their kids. They're just watching the game. No. I'm hearing they're nuts. So today, as I was walking in the park on the main streets of Summerlin, my topic was, who are the craziest parents in youth sports? I grew up a swimmer. We had some crazy parents, but not really. They had to sit in the bleachers. We were in the pool. Okay? My dad was my Little League coach. He didn't stand for any of it. Youth basketball here in Vegas gets wackadoodle. You go to some of these AAU tournaments, you can see a fight. They play like basketball, Clay, at the Las Vegas Convention Center. They put down like fake floors and they have like 30 games going on. You could see a fight over there. So with all of these crazy sports youth parents, who are the craziest? Here are some of your choices. Baseball, basketball, hockey. Woo-hoo! Hockey, they fight too, Mom. Dads fight dads at hockey games. Is it soccer? Lacrosse, I doubt it. So our topic throughout the show today, Summertime Radio, is who are the wackiest and craziest and worst parents in what youth sport? You can only give me one. Only one sport. 702-365-9200. Some of the best people I ever met in my life and some of the worst I met through youth sports. It's true. So here it comes on my chat. There it is. Little League, club soccer. See, I don't know a lot about club soccer. That's why I want to dive into that today. Bill Krackomberger will join us next. I think he's one of the greatest content providers that I know. He is a gambling savant. He's a winner, but he also calls out the mistakes that are made on the gambling front. The monologue is brought to you by Modelo, the fighting spirit of Modelo. I reward myself with a bucket of Modelos every Friday. This Friday, I'll be up river rafting in Boise, Idaho. listening to live music, and I'll be floating down the river with a bucket of Modelo's.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by The Black Hole. Become a member of football's most notorious fans.
Gino to throw. He's looking down the middle to the end zone. Caught Bowers. Back in the end zone in tight coverage. Touchdown Raiders.
JT back with you. We're brought to you by the DeCastroverde Law Group. If you get injured in an accident, the two brothers are fantastic. Brotherswin.com. The brothers win. They will help you when you need them. Bill Krackomberger is one of the great American sports bettors. He's a winner, and he helps people along the way. That's why I love the guy. Some of the best conversations I have are with Crack. Bill Krackomberger, kind enough to join us. Crack, I hope you're enjoying the summer. I was back east. I was upstate from Rochester to New Paltz to Long Island. I know you went back to Jersey. You're in Vegas, but now we're baking out here in Vegas. Where are you?
Yeah, I am in Vegas. I just filmed my podcast today, and it's so hot here that we filmed from the World Series of Poker, my podcast. They gave us a great setup over there. I'm moving the podcast to Circa, though, starting next week. So we'll be at Circa every week doing the podcast down right in the middle of the sports book. But it's so hot. I parked on the roof, not even thinking anything. Big mistake. My player cards from the casino, which you swipe when you leave to get free parking, because they do gouge you on everything here. You come to Vegas. That's a new industry. Parking itself's a business. So, as a matter of fact, the other day they parked and they wanted to charge me $40. Thank God I had the card. But even today, $25. So my cards that were above the visor melted in 4 hours. They literally shriveled up like all bent up different. I said, well, maybe I can still get it to work. I couldn't get it to work. So it's that hot. In the sun, my car said 121 degrees. So that's in the sun. It's about 106, 108, I think. Yeah. But we've had some heat spells here.
Yeah, earlier today was the first time this year, because we have my vehicle's usually in the garage, my wife's outside the garage, and my son's. And my vehicle was outside for a couple hours, and when I went to drive and pull out of the driveway, I couldn't grab the steering wheel. I couldn't grab it. It was that hot. I had to grab a towel and start my drive off with a towel. It's crazy. I want to start off with this big topic with gamblers. We'll stay with sports gamblers, but we can go out to any gambler, table games, slots, whatever. Do you want to make money at this, or do you just want to be happy losing? I see a lot of losers smiling online and, hey, I was close to winning, but I didn't win. And then I just wonder, when I look at the NBA and NFL sides, the World Cup, which we're living in the World Cup now, is it hard to be a winner, or are there many more losers?
It's the way to look at this. Now, if you're going to look at this like a social thing, so in other words, if you want to come out and gamble, or if you just want to, your local casino, have some fun and treat it as a social event, maybe go to a show, a nice meal, lose a few bucks on the slots, have a good time, that's fine. But just like my wife goes shopping, or, you go on a vacation, or you go out to a nice expensive meal, you do it as a social thing. I don't do it like that. My gambling, if I'm playing something, you can guarantee I have an edge, whether it be a front-loaded edge where you get walk-in money, promotion where you're getting slot rebate or slot upfront money, or there's just a game that's a good machine. That's a good machine to play with positive edge because of a progressive or whatever it may be. I am done being a sucker. I did that for my first, I'm going to say my first 25 years on the earth, gambling when I was a kid at the Boardwalk, Jersey Shore, New York. I was always a sucker and a loser, but I had fun. But, a lot of times that you go home, people that are listening here, they understand this. How many nights do you have that long drive from Atlantic City back to New York like I had, thinking to myself, what an idiot I am. I don't have enough money to pay the tolls. That was back in the day when you had to have physical change or paper dollars to give to the toll collector. I know now it's all Easy Pass. But I have had those nights where I said, I can't believe. I even ran out of gas one time when I was a kid. So it took someone to shake me and show me the right way in life. So the right way is, if you want to do this as a business like I do, you look for edges along the way. I'm not looking to bet NFL sides or NFL totals, even NBA sides. those are next to unbeatable. They're such an efficient market, but that's what they want you to bet. That's what they advertise. They use the celebrities. They use the former athletes. They're all up there. They're out there for you, and they're saying, oh, my God, it's so easy to be. Yeah, this is fun. Isn't this great? Isn't it? And then next thing you know, you go broke and you say, well, how come they did it? They did it right. Well, same thing with the World Cup now. World Cup here, we have now conditioned Americans to be World Cup gamblers. I don't even want to know the number of money that was lost on the USA yesterday. I could imagine the sports books made a fortune on that game. Everyone being American, I get it. It's a great thing to be. It's the greatest country in the world. Whenever I leave this country, I come back, I kiss the ground here. That's how good of a country this is. However, my allegiance is to my bankroll. And my bankroll says, you got to, I've been saying it in all shows I've been doing, you got to just, look for odds, look for the best odds. And you have to realize you want to be on the bookmaker's side. The bookmaker's side, it's easy to say now, but I did say it before every single USA game was to bet against the USA. But however, going back to this again, these three-way lines that they offer, lots of juice. It's a very heavily juiced market. I'm not looking to do something that everyone else is doing or that sports books want you to do. So I say you have to look at player props, smaller market, WNBA, maybe summer league, NBA, some college baseball, things that people don't look at that the sports book takes a lot less money limit-wise on it, but they do offer it because they feel it's a social thing. I stay away from NFL sides and NBA sides and even the World Cup.
Bill Krackomberger is our guest. I wanted to talk about those who follow these gambling influencers thinking that they could make it rich. I mean, I cannot believe this, and I understand the advent. The money in sports media, a lot of it comes from online gaming and these apps and these online casinos. I get it. And if they can take that money and they're going to take it at ABC, Disney, and radio stations are going to get it, I understand that part of the business. But when they put a Sports Center anchor on and he's telling you to sign up and your first 200 bets are free if you lose, I sit there and say, who is stupid enough to look at that woman or guy on Sports Center who's pitching some gambling app thinking you're going to win if you open up an account? Are we at the end of this? Did everybody figure out that this is kind of like a scam, or are people going to continue to believe in this stuff?
I think when you watch these kind of things, and I'm unfiltered, and I'm sorry if I have to be so blunt, I think shows, and I don't mean to pick on them, you mentioned Sports Center. When I listen to these shows on ESPN, I think they've killed more people than many diseases put together, the advice they've given out. So you have to watch who you're listening to, and you have to watch what you're listening to. You have to know there's not a lot of people in sports betting media that win, but they act like they win. A lot of them don't even bet. So you really want to make sure where you're getting your information from. You want to now this is a job, though. This isn't fun. My father used to tell me all the time. I used to play next to him with his dad. You don't hold the ace jack there. You hold the jack queen. I'm trying to tell him playing video poker. And he said something to me really good. Son, I work 40 to 50 hours a week. You're taking the fun out of my gambling. I said, Dad, you're right. You're playing $1.25. Have some fun. Don't worry about it. So I understand both sides of this. I've been on both sides. Like I said, I when I see these guys in media, especially on social media, and the guys that are the influencers on the Instagram and TikToks, they only show their wins. They show their best life, JT. They're showing their best life. A lot of times it's not even real. It's fake. They're just showing it to you and acting like they do this and that. They get paid per clicks, paid for you to go to their YouTube page and watch their videos. Now, I'm not saying they're all bad. I actually like Vegas Matt. Mm-hmm. He's a giant influencer. He's here in town. He makes videos. I like his stuff. And you want to know something else? I like his transparency. He tells you about the pitfalls of gambling and losing. And I just watched an interview with him yesterday talking about how much money people lose and how much money he's lost in his life and how he makes his money. Where he makes his money is the YouTube clicks. That's where he makes his money. So I really appreciate him being so honest. I appreciate him being so honest to his viewers because his content is fun. But he's showing a lot of hands, a lot of things, a lot of video poker, a lot of slot machines, a lot of blackjack and baccarat. But he shows you the losses, too. There's some of these people that are on these slot channels that only show you their wins and how easy and glamorous it is. It leads to destruction. It's called gambling ruin, RUIN. People just say, I want to be like them. I got to do this. I got to do that. And let me tell you something. I know so many people that watch these channels and can't wait to get to Vegas. And guess what? Now what these channels do, they make them play bigger. They weren't even play. They used to be $quarter and dollar slot players because they see them hitting big jackpots. Oh, I got to go. I got to try $5. I want to hit a jackpot like this girl or that guy. It's absolute. What's happening now in the gambling media space on social media is sickening to me. I do have a responsible gambling platform.
Bill Krackomberger. It's interesting. My sons, as we talked about, they're in their early 20s. And there's groups of people that run around Vegas and they're hanging on behind the gambler. So the famous influencer is gambling and he's playing 3 hands of blackjack, $100,000 a hand. And you see these young boys behind him egging him on, and they all got their cameras out, and then they win and they go crazy. And I'm seeing more and more of that. And I'm saying, oh no. I don't care about the guy who's in his 40s or 50s and 60s losing $100,000 a hand. I'm sure he wins also, or she. I'm worried about the dopamine and the adrenaline these young college-age guys are getting watching these videos and even being in the room in a casino in a high-limit room because they're allowed to come in and watch and video it for social media, and they're putting that out to hundreds of thousands of kids that age who believe they can do it too.
Well, you bring up a great point, and I don't think about this enough. You know, I've been out with Dana White multiple times myself. I absolutely love him. Great guy, so Dana's generous, great. Helps everybody. I was with Dana one time, and I'm standing right next to him, and he literally wind up having a swing of he was down $400,000, he was up $500,000, went down again, finally came back to about even for him, plus $85,000. He quit. He handed everyone money, the $85,000 he gave away, $5,000 to the girl that cut the cards, gave $25,000 to the dealer. Gave $1,000 to everyone around him, including me, and I got upset. He said, no, you got to take it. It's for luck. So I think about that. But the guys that hang around, but not so much Dana White. Let's say like the Steve Will Do It, who also is a good, generous guy. But then again, the people that are following this, the kids, the entourages, they see this stuff. They're trying to live up to that expectation and that kind of a betting thing. Perfect example is my friend John Orlando, Tony Orlando's son. I'm out there with him. And you know, he's the one that introduced me to Dana. And John literally going broke at the blackjack table. I could say this because he gave me permission to say this. He's just trying to keep up to Dana White. You can't keep up to the biggest gambler in Vegas. Dana will gamble $1 million a hand if he could. So, you know, you think about that. But all these influencers that have entourages. Let's look at Floyd Mayweather. Look what happened to him. Now, where's all the entourage he had? He had a separate plane just for his entourage. They're all gone now. He's going broke. They're all gone. You can't find any of them. They're on to the next scheme and scam.
Bill Krackomberger, as we wrap it up. Finally, let's talk about people who should stop gambling more than they intend to gamble on a trip. And I'll even take it down to a smaller level for people who go play video poker and their handle is about $200. They want to go have a cigarette, a beer. They want to go play. They want to play for an hour or two. And they have a $200 limit. They put $200 into the machine. Well, when the $200's gone, why can't they walk away? Why do they pull out another $100 or go to the ATM and grab $200 more? What is the mindset of the gambler who knows they're supposed to have a limit and they play through it?
Well, you mentioned a great thing, gambling. When you're gambling, drinking is going to alter your mind, and you have a certain amount of money you want to go through that you established before you went into a casino, and now you're drinking and you have multiple drinks and you're just another 100, and that really leads to chasing and bad things. But also, how do you go to a casino and not carry cash? Don't go to an ATM machine. Do you know, I seen something about a month ago I couldn't believe. A guy took out right in front of me, I was cashing a ticket. It's the same exact machine that cashes tickets and is the ATM. I was cashing out a ticket. The guy in front of me took $40 from the ATM and paid $16.99 right in the casino. How are you paying almost 50% on your money? What are you doing? Carry cash and in heavy. I mean, you have to go with a certain amount of money, and you have to say, hey, this is what I'm willing to lose, and don't go into that, and don't pay those ridiculous fees, and that's what gets you though. You go there, and say, you know what? Let me just get even, and let me just want to go home. All I'm saying is, take it from experience. I'm not saying I'm Mother Teresa here. I did all these things. I was dumb as a kid. Up until my mid-20s, it took someone to shake me and show me the right way. I've never looked back since then. I love to share it with your audience based on my losses and the things I've experienced in my life, trials and tribulations. If I could save one person or if I can help one person, I've done my job.
Last one, Crack, for me. I have an off season. It's now. You know, Raiders come up here and NFL season comes and my head's down from end of July till after the Super Bowl, and I barely come up for air. Is there a break for sports gamblers? Can a sports gambler say, I do college football and baseball and nothing else, or I'm going to take a break for 3 weeks and go to Lake Como or go on a trip somewhere to Lake George and stop gambling? Where is the off season for the perennial sports gambler?
My man JT just mentioned something a lot of people don't know. Lake George. I used to go to Saratoga every year, even though I never, ever went crazy at the horses when at Saratoga. I would go there with $100, bet $5 a race, have some fun. But it's the other things. It's the other things around the Lake George, Saratoga, downtown. You're eating with the jockeys and the trainers, and it's such a great old school town. The Whitneys, the Barrymores. That was my thing when I lived back east. However, working for the great Billy Walters for a long time, which has been over about 15 years now, but he always would say, we're not doing anything else. Football, basketball, you got to have some time off. Baseball is such a tough nut to crack. Even like this year, the World Cup got in the way. There's some other bets you can make, mathematical bets, besides just betting the three-way line. So this year wasn't really too much off time for me. Now, even look at now, in July, I'm already looking at preseason football stuff that's going to be coming up here. I traveled the whole country now betting my futures, NFL season wins. I was in the Poconos. I was in Pennsylvania, and down to Hard Rock in Florida. Made a lot of bets on some futures, tying up some money on some positive ROI. So for me, there's really no time. But yet I'll get a little bit slow here up until preseason, next few weeks. But starting the end of July, preseason football, up until the end of the Super Bowl, I'm like you, buddy. It's literally 6-hour night sleep if we're lucky.
It's the best gambling conversation on sports radio, and you know me, I ain't looking for no gambling sports radio job. That's how we do it. I'll see you this summer, the rest of the summer. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, JT.
You got it, Bill Krackomberger. That's just gold. God, I wish I could work with that guy. I really would. I would like to work with him. I don't have many people I work with on air. I would like to work with him. Clay, he's one of the only guys in this town that makes it mainstream. It feels like you're having a conversation. He's passionate. He loves it, and he wants to help the little guy. He wants to help the little guy.
Yeah, he's actually one of us. You know, he's just somebody that's like, prone to not talking above anyone else, not trying to talk over somebody's head, trying to pretend that he knows all the facts. He's somebody that has learned the hard way. And I love the fact that he's talked about people, getting $40 out of an ATM at a casino, which is so crazy because that's usually an $8 to $10 ATM fee just on that alone. And then your bank's going to do that on top of that. But you know what? He's one of the few guys that says, like, listen, if you want to go to a casino and you want to gamble, make sure you go to get their players club, but talk to a VIP host first, because having that interaction, you will get more for what you're asking for. And all you have to do is just ask for it. And he kind of like lays down and paves the way of saying, you don't have to be an influencer or a VIP to get a little special treatment. Just get in front of somebody face to face and find out what you can get.
Absolutely. I have never placed a bet in my life. I am 60 years old. I have never placed a bet. Now, I bet a sandwich. I bet drinks. The only bet I've ever had, which I don't count, is $20 into a bracket contest to give to my buddy. But I have never walked up to a window in my life or called the bookie or done that. But I interview as many gambling people as you can. So I think I'm educated on it. but I've never had to do this. If I started gambling, I would live under a bridge at the 215 in Town Center, and my wife would bring me soup 3 nights a week. I'd be living under a bridge because I would think I'm too smart, and I would eventually win because I know how to talk sports. I've watched the greatest sports fans get crushed gambling, and some of my best friends are great gamblers, and they win a little, and they have fun. They don't win a lot, but they win a little. I had dinner with a buddy of mine a couple of weeks ago, and I said, how'd you do last year? And he said, I won 40 grand. I said, wow, that's pretty good. He goes, but I bet 600 grand. I said, whoa, you put that much in play and you won 40. I go, okay. So my buddy bets a big number. 600 grand's a lot of money. He netted 40. There were years he lost money, but he does it for fun. He has a shot at tequila. He has a beverage. He plays video poker. He plays the slots, and he always has action on sports. Always. And when he has a parlay, I look at him and I shake my head. I go, what are you doing? Oh, I got 2 of the teams. I just need the third. I'm like, no. And normally he doesn't win on the parlays, but he's having fun. And I'm not the buzzkill. I'm the party. I'm not saying don't bet, don't bet, don't bet. But, he sits with me and we hang out. And I don't bet and he bets. And I get a lot of joy. I get a lot of satisfaction, not joy, watching people when they gamble and win. And the only thing that concerns me now are these young people like Brendan Sorsby, who got kicked out of college football. Only thing that really concerns me about gambling are divorce. When the wife gets lost at the machines for 6 weeks and hubby doesn't know she's down 40 grand, it's a divorce for some people. Or the kid who goes to a college campus and before he comes home for his first Christmas break, he's got to sit down with mom and dad and said he flunked out and he needs about 20 grand because he owes a bookie. That doesn't happen every day, but it happens to some people. I think we got to do a pretty good job keeping an eye on the young people who gamble. I'm sure there's young gals who do it, but mostly the young men in their teens and 20s who are getting a chance to do it, and it's getting away from them. Bill Krackomberger, America's favorite sports gambler. That was a hell of an hour. Apologize for our Wi-Fi being down if you're watching. Hopefully it'll be better tomorrow. We'll give it a shot tomorrow. Dana Wagner, one of the great newsmen in town from News 3 LV. He's great. You like crack, you're going to love Dana Wagner. He's a Dodger fan. He really loves the Dodgers. So if you like Dodger baseball, you don't want to miss this. Yes, JT back with you. Final hour of the show. As we keep rolling, I'm back here tomorrow on Thursday, and then I'm off Friday, and we'll see what happens after that. Clay Baker's back with me. Great to see Clay. Had a good show so far. Bill Krackomberger joined us for about 30 minutes to talk about the pros and cons of sports gambling. Love that. Dana Wagner will join us from News 3 LV coming up here in a little bit on the Dodgers and baseball. First day without World Cup. I kind of miss it. I like the World Cup a lot. LeBron James. Oh, the Warrior fans are quiet today. Really quiet today. We're not streaming this hour on YouTube, but a lot of the Bay Area Warrior fans, you thought you had LeBron, didn't you? Well, now there's some rumors that LeBron might be listening to Bob Myers, formerly the head basketball guy with the Warriors, about going to Philly. And if LeBron ends up going to Philly, he'll be the 1 seed over my Knicks. He will. My Knicks are the reigning champs. If LeBron goes to Philly with Maxey, Embiid, you look at that team, and now they got Jaylen Brown. That's a better front four than the Knicks have. Period. It's better than Cleveland. So I still think Cleveland is going to be the choice. It's going to be the choice, but I'm not exactly positive because he's LeBron. And we're living in a time now with LeBron James where I think he's going to enjoy the summer and making people sweat a little bit. But the Warriors thought they probably had it done once Draymond decided to opt out of his deal to maybe make a contract conducive for LeBron. LeBron hasn't jumped in with the Warriors yet. If LeBron was going to go to the Warriors, Clay, wouldn't that have happened by now? Wouldn't that have happened like day one with all these other deals going down?
Yeah, because there's no reason to wait. You just go in and make it happen. But just along the way, the longer you stay out, the more uncertainty creeps in because it makes you wonder if he's trying to get a better deal somewhere else. The
team that I thought would be the best fit, I think he's going to Cleveland. No one's talking Detroit. And you know Detroit. Detroit was the 1 seed in the East. Mm-hmm. They were supposed to go to the NBA Finals. They didn't. If LeBron went to Detroit with Cade Cunningham, they'd be right back as the 1 seed in the East over the Knicks, the Celtics, Philadelphia. But I don't think he's going to end up in Detroit.
I don't think so either. And it makes me also feel a little uncertain about even Cleveland. Obviously, he's got ties there, but what does he really want right now? And does he want to play with other great players, or does he want to continue to win and fortify a legacy and help Cleveland win? I don't know. It makes me wonder, like, after all he has done and accomplished, what does he exactly want with these final years?
Yeah, it's incredible. I don't know. I think he wants to stay close to home in L.A., where his wife and daughter and his kids seem to be happy. And he's a billionaire with a B, so he doesn't have to really do anything. The only thing that really fascinates me about LeBron is what he's going to play for, how much money. Because Steph Curry's making $62 million, and if he goes to Cleveland, get this. Yesterday, Donovan Mitchell agreed to a 4-year extension for $273 million. In year 4 of his extension, he gets $75 million. You think LeBron wants to play in Cleveland knowing Donovan Mitchell's going to make $75 million and he's making the mid-level exemption? No. LeBron's about money. And he deserves to make a lot of money. But like Aaron Rodgers, he's got to take a bit of a pay cut. No one takes a pay cut on the Dodgers. Everybody on the Dodgers gets paid full boat. One of the great Dodger fans in my life, one of the great newsmen, one of my good friends, Dana Wagner from News 3 LV. And Dana, I waited for your Dodgers to have a 14-game lead before I asked you to come on.
Yeah, I hear you. This is fun for me, though. This is like dogs and cats getting together because you're that big Yankees fan, and I'm a big Dodgers fan, and I'm still upset about the 77 and 78 Dodgers losing to the Yankees. I'm not kidding you. And you guys owned us in the 40s and 50s. I go way back with this club. Not that I'm that old, but I have a memory. So it's great to be on. Thank you. And we got a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, we do. And I was at the World Series where Freddie Freeman hit the walk-off with my son, and your Dodgers won the latest chapter against the Yankees. For all the Dodger baseball you watched last night, Ohtani milestone his 300th homer, and I put it out on my Sirius XM show. What's the total? What's the number? Do you take the over or under 700 for Ohtani, who's 400 home runs away from 700?
I don't think he gets there, JT. How is he? 32 now.
I think
we're probably going to do.
Yeah, he is. That's what Clay said. Yes.
Okay, all right, 30. Okay, so listen, he's in the heart of his contract, heart of his hitting career right now for sure. But how long does that last? Is that 6, 8 years? Hitters become less productive into their 40s, and so I don't think the over/under number for me was kind of 600, and right now I think it's even money either way. But listen, the guy's amazing. It's just every time he comes up to bat, you got to watch him. And I love watching the guy pitch, too. He's one of the best pitchers in baseball as well.
You know, I'm a believer in Dave Roberts now with the amount of wins he has and the way he's doing it for the Dodgers. As a Dodger fan, what do you respect about Dave Roberts, who was kind of getting grilled a lot 3 or 4 years ago, and Dodger fans wanted a lot more out of him and his teams, and now he's a made man with the best team in baseball?
I think it's insane that he takes criticism, and I hear it a lot. Not as much now, 2-time defending champions, of course. That's going to take some of the heat off you, but I couldn't believe when they were getting on Dave Roberts a few years ago. He's just got a steady hand. I think he has a lot of credibility in the locker room. I think the guys would run through a wall for him. I think they just love playing for Dave Roberts. Dave Roberts cares about his players. His players care about him. And I think he ends up making the right moves at the right time. So I think he's got everything. And I would love to say, I heard something today that he's talking about, he'll spend the rest of his career with the Dodgers. I would love that.
Dana Wagner is our guest. What's really interesting about the Dodgers is they're loaded from 1 through 9, and they can score at any point in the lineup. And they know how to manufacture runs. I'm a Yankee fan. They struck out 17 times last night, 32 times in the last 2 games. You don't see that with the Dodgers. They have home run hitters that swing, but they seem to know how to put the ball in play, move runners, and execute on the offensive side.
I'm sorry, man. Your post to social media about the Yankees and Aaron Boone. Oh, I'm in touch. I read them. Music to my ears as a Dodgers fan. But, yeah, there's a lot of angst going on with the Yankees right now. But with the Dodgers, get this, I agree. This is a really smart team. You get that sense, right? They're looking for a certain type of player on this squad. But here's the scary part for the people that hate the Dodgers, of which there are many. They have a lot of good guys that aren't even playing right now because they're injured. I mean, Blake Snell, 2-time Cy Young Award winner. He's on rehab. He'll be back. You have Blake Trinan, who's important. I think that right now the bullpen is the weakness of the Dodgers, and they got a lot of arms out. Blake Trinan is one of them. And how about Edwin Diaz? He's our closer who hasn't pitched most of the season. He's coming back. Our starting catcher, Will Smith, hasn't been in the lineup. And Tyler Glasnow is a starting pitcher on that club. So there's a lot of guys that aren't even in the lineup right now, including bullpen pitchers, starting pitchers, and the rest. So help is coming. For sure.
Yeah. Dana Wagner's our guest, News 3LV. You made a great point about this team. Even when guys are down, they're able to pick it up. And, if you look at the overall standings here, same amount of losses as Milwaukee. There's always going to be a team in the National League that's supposed to be a team that could be hot enough to maybe beat the Dodgers in the postseason. That would be Milwaukee. Atlanta has been fading. The Cubs were extremely hot. Now they're coming back to earth. But the thing about the Dodgers is they own the division. And I got this one right before the season started. I said they would win the division by 18 games. Now I think it's going to be more than that. When the Diamondbacks try to make a run or the Giants forget about them, what about the Padres? The Padres are supposed to be the team to be there. They are buried in the standings. The Padres have no chance picking up that many games on Ohtani and the rest of this roster.
It's crazy. What happened to the Padres? I think Machado is hitting like 189.
Yeah.
I mean, they just cannot hit at all. So here's the thing. You bring up a great point, JT. The Dodgers own their division, which is a nice luxury to have, right? Because if you're not battling to the end, now you can juggle around a little bit in September. You can give some guys some days off. You can set up your starting lineup with your pitchers. It just gives you a lot of flexibility if you're not battling to the final day to win your division. And I don't even know if the Dodgers care about finishing with the best record necessarily in the Western Conference. I mean, that's something. It gives you home field advantage, certainly. But if you can give your guys rest and have them fresh for the postseason, I think that's even more important than necessarily winning the West.
We both grew up loving the All-Star Game, the Midsummer Classic. When I was a young boy and playing Little League, I remember it was always the night of the year that my dad invited all the Little Leaguers over to my house for the pool and ice cream. I remember staying up late. I remember Willie Stargell and Pete Rose when I was really young and other teams there. The All-Star Game meant so much to me because as an American League fan, I never got a chance to see the National League players play until the All-Star Game. What did the All-Star Game mean to you as a young boy?
Oh, my goodness. It was everything. What's funny is there's a lot of things that have changed. You remember how big a deal the Indy 500 was?
Yeah.
And we were huddled around the TV to watch in our house. We'd watch one auto race a year. It was the Indy 500, and the All-Star Game in Major League Baseball was a big night. You're right. We would all sit. We'd have those TV trays out, eating TV dinners, watching the All-Star Game, and seeing players that we didn't see much. Back then in the 70s when I was growing up, and the 80s. Every game wasn't on TV. Now you can see any team that you want any night of the week you want. Back then you couldn't. So you heard tales, about Reggie Jackson. Well, you got to see him play. And, the importance of the game was marked by Pete Rose almost ending Ray Fosse's career. You remember when Rose?
Yeah, big time.
He mowed him down at home plate. Ray Fosse's like, this is an exhibition game. And Pete Rose says, it's a game. I want to win it. So it was a big deal back then. Now it's not so much. I'll probably watch a few innings of it, but back in the day, it was all nine.
Dana, I wanted to wrap it up because more than just baseball and the Dodgers. As we look at the landscape of Las Vegas now, and I see you as you cover the news and do such a great job with the rumblings of the NBA. It seems like there's a lot of different ownership groups. And I'm very careful on the radio because it could be Mark Davis, Bill Foley. It could be Bob Iger. There's a lot of people that are looking at the NBA in Vegas. But, the expansion fee is enormous. They want their own arena outside T-Mobile to build. What part of town? What south side of the strip, or do you move it up more? What is your sense on how the NBA is going to do here? Because it's coming. I think we'll be ready to go by 2028, but there seems to be so many loose ends.
I think it's going to be insane. I think this has been a basketball town for a long time, hasn't it? Mm-hmm. I mean, since the run of Rebels, and look what the NBA Summer League. I mean, they already call Las Vegas the 31st franchise because of the NBA Summer League, which starts tomorrow. I just think it's going to be a huge hit here. You're right. I hope we get the right owners. I think that matters so much in all of sports, not just NBA, but any sport. I think ownership is critical. There's probably, 5 to 8 different sites where they could build an NBA arena. And you're right, they'll have a new one. They'll play at the T for a few, but as soon as they get that new arena built, they'll move in there. But here's my concern. We have 2 million people plus in Clark County. Mm-hmm. We're a small town. I mean, compared to these other big cities, right, that have major league franchises, we're a small town, and I think something's got to give. So I think the Raiders are king, always will be. You're never going to impact they're going to sell out every game pretty much. Then I think NBA is going to be 2. And then who gets the squeeze on that? Do the Golden Knights feel the squeeze? They've been so successful over the 9 years. They made it to the Stanley Cup Final 3 times. Well, what if they falter? What if they don't make the playoffs one year? I mean, Vegas loves a winner. Most fan bases do. And what about the A's playing 81 home games? Do they start to feel the squeeze? I mean, they're obviously going to get a bump when they start here, but my concern is what happens to the other squads. Can we support 4 major league squads? I guess we're about ready to find out.
Dana Wagner, last one. We always leave on a big, big note. You're a Raiders season ticket holder like I am. When does Mendoza play? When does Dana and Kim Wagner want to park, go in there, get to their seats for the anthem, and you want to see Mendoza because you understand football and this young player being a number 1 overall pick? If it's Cousins to start, when would you like to see Mendoza play?
Doesn't it depend on Kirk Cousins?
Yes.
I think it does. So, I mean, if they go, let's say they go 4-1 under Cousins, how do you pull them?
Can't.
How do you pull him? And I don't even know if they want to. I mean, I think that they want to give this rookie, I think they want to ramp him up slow. I just had this conversation last night. In fact, I talk about it all the time. So they go 3-2. Yeah, Cousins probably stays around for a little bit longer. 2-3. Now you start looking at the bench. 1-4. You start looking at the bench. So I think we'll know a lot after those first 5 games. But there is a possibility out there where Mendoza doesn't start a game this year. And if that happens, there's going to be a lot of smiles on Raiders fans' faces because that means Cousins is pitching well, that he's throwing the rock around. So there's a possibility Mendoza doesn't play at all. And if he does, that may mean that the Raiders are floundering.
With all due respect to Governor Lombardo, you should run. You should run for some office here in town. I would be some type of media peon in the back room. I'd be counting votes, and I'd be on the phone trying to raise money. And you just got to stand up, man. You're great. You're a sports politician. You're the man.
It just sounds awful. I don't know. I just don't want to take all the slings and arrows. I mean, geez Louise. Hey, before we go, I've been meaning to ask you this in person, but I'm going to ask you on live radio right now. What is your problem with the Dodgers' deferred money?
I don't like the fact that I think it's a big black eye, the fact that Ohtani is getting all of his money deferred. I think that the Dodgers, who have such an extreme advantage with their global net worth with their new ownership, if they want to pay $240 million for an outfielder who bats 6th, fine, but you have to pay all the salaries on time and when they're due. I don't like deferred money, especially with the best player in the world.
So, listen, I get it. And if I was especially, other than like a Yankees, Mets, Phillies fan, if I'm in Cincinnati or Kansas City, it would really bother me that the Dodgers are doing this, but it's within the rules, which you agree to. If people don't like the rules, they should change the rules. The Dodgers doing everything within their power, and they're spending money that they have. Maybe it's pushed down the line. They have a lot of guys. It's like $1 billion in deferred money.
Yeah.
And I hear people talk about it all the time, but I think, well, why don't the Yankees do this? Why don't the Mets do this? Why don't the Phillies do this? I don't understand. It's within the rules. That's why I don't see why people have a lot of heartache about it.
Well, last one, because I do have one card that I'm going to play on you.
Okay.
And I might do it live, but if the lockout comes,
Yeah,
you have to admit
will.
you have to admit the Dodgers are going to take the brunt of that hit. Everything you just said about the billion and the deferred, if there is a lockout, don't come blanking at my Yankees. This isn't Steinbrenner in the 70s. Everyone's going to say we have a lockout because of Dana Wagner's, Paul Gutierrez, Harry Ruiz's Dodgers, and you're going to have to own that, okay?
No, you're probably right. Look, I think the lockout's coming. I think it's almost a certitude. And there is going to be, I just don't, these two sides are so far apart. I think your audience understands, right? It's all over a salary cap.
Yes.
And the Dodgers certainly don't want that. And I don't think the Yankees or the Mets or the Phillies want that either. But the Cincinnati Reds want a salary cap because they simply can't compete.
I hope I can meet you on a beach or at a happy hour soon. Yeah. And all the best. Thanks for doing this. It was great.
No, I enjoy it very much, and thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Have a great week.
You too. Dana Wagner, News 3, one of the king of the newsmen. We have all the newsmen, Clay, on this show. Chris Matthews, Dana Wagner, Kevin Bollinger, and you work with one, Vince Sapienza.
Yeah.
He's a sports news guy.
Constantly working, and they work at night while we come in the morning. It's it's a rough handoff, but he says something very, very strongly about the sports dollar in this town. It's getting stretched pretty thin.
It is. Look, I live it. Okay, I live it, and I got some season tickets in town. It's expensive. You got to figure it out. Dana made a great point. Can people in this town afford season tickets for everything? The corporates can. The casinos can. The MGM and Caesars and Circa and Derek's. Everybody can buy as many suites as they want. They can afford that. When I'm home at a Raider game at Allegiant Stadium and I'm walking the suites and I see the names of the companies, Boyd Gaming, Fertitas and all that, they can afford the suites. But how many fans can afford the individual tickets for all the teams? It's pretty expensive, and I think the problem with this town is too many people are buying season tickets because they feel like they have to own them, and they're selling them individually, and they're selling them to people out of market.
Yeah, and it changes the whole dynamic of how much you can actually afford to go to a game because now you're up to different market challenges, especially if the Yankees come into town to face the Athletics. But in the overall scheme, who does it hurt? Does it hurt any of the other sports? Because we're still seeing, not enough crowds over at the Thomas M. Mack Center for UNLV basketball. We will see crowds for the NBA Summer League. But I worry about January games at the Thomas and Mack, and I don't see the kind of effort that I used to see out of a fan base that was so thirsty for basketball.
I think it hurts UNLV the most.
Mm-hmm.
I think it hurts UNLV the most because it shouldn't, because UNLV basketball, not football, Dan Mullen and Coach Odom before that did a great job. Allegiant Stadium has a lot to do with that. But the way UNLV's recruiting and how they're building that program to a higher level, Allegiant Stadium's everything. I could care less if you had Dan Mullen or if you were playing games out at Sam Boyd. I wouldn't go out there on a bet. And I did go out there back in the day for the Las Vegas Bowl, but I didn't go out there for a lot of UNLV football. Now, I'm working every day. Other than Saturday, if I get a call that says, hey, man, you want to go to a UNLV football game because it's at Allegiant Stadium, I consider it.
Yes,
I do. I would not have gone out there all the way to Sam Boyd, and they have got to take advantage of that. When you have a stadium that's brand new, still very new, and you have Dan Mullen with this team, you got to jump on it, man. You got to jump on it and make sure that you're selling all those tickets. I think UNLV basketball has been hurt the most because I think people are very apathetic now. You and me were at the bar with Bill Bano. Remember those years?
Yes, absolutely.
Remember when Bano
in the Shark Club?
Remember after the game, Bano would go to the center bar? Like he was there after the game, after the shower.
Public relations.
Oh, he was there. And people wanted to go to UNLV basketball. Now people are like, well, if they're winning, I'll go. Well, that's not how you support a program. All the students at UNLV, and I don't know how many students go there, no idea, they should be at all the games. They're in college. Unless they're commuters, and there's some commuters. But if you're living off campus or you got an apartment and you're living there, you should be going to every UNLV basketball game.
Yeah, the on-campus selection, the population just isn't supporting the team, which is also kind of bothersome because it makes you feel like what's missing. Because even at the lowest level, people still go to those games if you're a student on campus. You still fill out the student section and scream your bloody lungs out.
Yes, you do. No doubt about it. So here's what we're going to do. I opened this up earlier, but we had back-to-back guests for about an hour. and I love the two guests, Bill Krackomberger and Dana Wagner. I opened up the show by asking you, what youth sports, kids, have the craziest parents? What sport, and you can be anonymous, okay? You don't have to call in and say, I'm this guy and I work for this company. You can be anonymous. What do you believe are the craziest psycho parents in what sport? Your choices are baseball, football, basketball, hockey, and I think when I'm hearing about soccer the last couple of days, soccer's gaining fast. Maybe I'm forgetting a sport. Open line, 702-365-9200. Who are the biggest psycho sports parents that you see, and you can't believe how nuts they are? I'll go first next. I'll tell you who I think they are. And I'm going to give you the specific group of the sport coming up, but I got to hear from you on this topic. And I'm not a text guy. I like to hear people on the radio. 702-365-9200. Who are the craziest sports parents out there? What sport? Let's hear from you. 702-365-9200. We are brought to you by Boyd Gaming. 10 local properties in town here. The local casino partner of the Silver and Black. Always bet on black. I think that's a good topic because a lot of people know what I'm talking about. What sports parents are the nuts, the crazies? What sport?
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by M Resort Spa and Casino, the official hotel of the Las Vegas Raiders.
They run it again with Genty, patient behind the line. Bounces out to the left at the 40, into the secondary 30. Nobody's going to catch him. Down the middle of the field, Genty at the 5. Touchdown, Raiders! Deuces, goodbye for the second time in the ballgame. This one from 51 yards. And with 5:24 to go, the Raiders on the back of the 6th overall pick. Not done yet.
Yeah, Jason Horowitz. Haven't spoke to him in a while. And we'll get him up here coming up soon. We are brought to you by Finley Volvo Las Vegas. My wife and I went there the other day to see Mike, the general manager there, and we test drove a vehicle, and we were blown away. I just want to share with everybody the 2026 Volvo V60. The crossover was an absolute incredible experience. The V60 cross country, I've never been in a car like that. I don't test drive a lot of cars. So I was over there and I was looking at all the vehicles, and Mike was showing us around, and they have brand new vehicles. They have pre-owned. They do a lot of business over there. The showroom is gorgeous. It's one of the, if you're into that, if you like a nice showroom, this is probably one of the best you'll ever see. It's directly across the freeway from UFC headquarters, right? So Rainbow and the 215, and Mike is such a good guy. And he was showing me the inventory. And then when we were done, we went into the back where the service department is, and you could eat off the floors. And there was all these technicians who were working, and they were there, and all the equipment was modern. And I was looking at it, and I couldn't believe all the computer elements of all of it. It really was fantastic, their service center. So if you want to take a look at a new vehicle, the stereos are amazing. One of the safest cars, if not the safest car out there. But overall, I was just blown away by their vehicles and what they have. And it was a lot more than I thought. So I would recommend, if you want to go check out a new vehicle, whatever fits right for your family. If you want to lease a car, you want to go in there and buy a car, look for great deals, mention my name, JT. Head on out to Finley Volvo Cars, Las Vegas. I'm just going to keep going back and test driving vehicles. I mean, we got on the 215. We went around a little bit. Couldn't believe the ease and the beauty of the vehicle. Proud partner of the show. I haven't had Paul Gutierrez on in a while. I don't know why. He's a pretty busy guy. But today I talked to Eric Allen. We had a call this morning. And I told Eric I loved his appearance with Paul on their podcast. I learned more about the Raider offseason with this conversation, what EA had to say about this upcoming Raider season.
And again, whenever we talk, it just always blows my mind that your career in the NFL, your rookie season ended in the Fog Bowl, the career ended in the Tuck Rule game. I mean, you've seen a lot of stuff.
Yes, I have.
But when it comes to this year's Raiders team, they're still putting things together this offseason. What kind of things are you seeing out there, whether it was OTAs, mandatory minicamp? What are defensively especially, what are you seeing?
Yeah, it's always difficult, when they don't have pads on.
Yeah.
So what you like to see is kind of what style they're trying to play, to kind of build the foundation. Because this is the time when you build the foundation.
Yeah.
When the season starts, the players will be able to go back to this time and kind of think about what the coaches are trying to implement, right?
Yeah.
What the foundation is going to be. So right off the bat, in practices, you see a lot of press coverage on the outside. So that tends to tell me that, they're getting ready and getting the guys ready for some one-on-one stuff, which in this league you have to be able to play. But what people don't understand, it's not always the defensive backfield.
Yeah.
Because, if I'm in one coverage, like the tight end needs to be covered too, and the running backs.
Yeah.
So that puts a lot of stress and pressure on those middle defenders to be able to also play man-to-man at some aspect.
Always great talking the X's and O's with you. If we pull up to about 30,000 feet and look at what's going on defensively, new boss, same as the old boss, so to speak, especially for those defensive linemen. Rob Leonard, first time as a defensive coordinator. And a lot was made this offseason about the Raiders switching to a 3-4 base, but really how often are teams in a base defense? I mean, is that much ado about nothing, or is that kind of getting your ears up and your eyes going in different directions, the fact that's happening?
Yeah, I think, first of all, Rob is going to be able to kind of implement his style of play, which is a physical brand. I love talking with him because I've talked to him many times before, because I think he's done just a great job of getting his defensive linemen to really get used to having alternate moves. Like you have your go-to, right, whatever that go-to is, but he was always talking about having the speed, the power off that initial move. So I just really love talking to him and really happy that he was able to get this opportunity. And Coach Clint saw that he was ready for it. Yeah. So it's going to be a physical brand of football. I think first down is really where we'll see the foundation of the 34 defense, because you have to have a big tackle, guy to kind of cover that center, that guard up, and be strong enough to be able to stop the run. You need a run stopper when you're in the 34, because that guy is so important in the middle of the football field, keeping those guards in that center from getting to the second level. Yeah. I think that's important. So that's really the first down, and on running downs, that's really when we're going to see that. But the most of the time, it's going to be in sub packages, and we're going to be basically in a 5-2, for the most part, or sometimes, have that mug look where that will linebacker is going to be in that B or C gap, and it's going to look like one middle linebacker in the middle of the football field with all those DBs around him. So, yes, I think on running downs and first down, which is so critical. And early on last season, we didn't do a very good job of stopping the run. So that's point number one, is stopping the run. And I think with this style of defense and the physical approach, that's the number one priority.
You know what's interesting about that 3-4 defense is our guy Marcus Allen, the other Hall of Famer from San Diego. He told me that when he was playing, he hated playing against a 3-4. That was the most difficult type of defense he faced because of the type of athlete that you had to have and the personnel you had to have in that 3-4, especially with those linebackers that can not only be thumpers but could also cover.
Right, because they have an opportunity to be one gap and hey, I'm going to take this A gap because I know my linebacker is going to take the B gap, and then the Will and the Sam. So all those gaps are going to be filled from a defensive standpoint, and from a great running guy like Marcus, who loves to like zone runs for offenses. So you get that zone stretch, and that running back is looking where that gap is, so he can either cut it back, or hit it right in the middle. But with a 34, most of the times all those gaps are filled, so you gotta bounce it outside.
Nowhere to run.
Exactly. So what you want is that defense to really dictate where that running back is going to run, and if you flush him outside, hopefully your strong safety, your corners, be able to manage the edge and take care of that.
That's what they call the transition, because when you talk about the corners and the safeties in the secondary, your eyes light up a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
So a lot of rookies in the secondary in minicamp. We got Trayden Stukes, Dalton Johnson, Hezekiah Mastis. What are you seeing from those young guys? Again, it's early in the offseason. What has impressed you about those guys?
The expectation, I think, is to have versatility at the nickel dime spot, right? First, you got to understand and know who's at your corners. I mean, obviously, we know East Stokes is going to be at one. Figure out who's going to be at that other spot if they want the long, kind of, rangy guy, or someone who's going to be able to be a shadow on somebody. So that's going to be something. But I think right now what this team is trying to accomplish is who is going to be that interior cover guy. And is he going to be the type of player that we saw maybe in the Super Bowl? Okay. Witherspoon, who can come down, cover that slot guy, or bring him on a blitz because he's too fast, still have some range about him, still have some force to be able to hold that corner. But I think that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a versatile player in the middle of the football field who can accompany those free agents we got at the linebacker spot. I think that's very critical in this day and time in football.
What role do you think Trayden Stukes can play?
Yeah.
Is that guy that you're talking about maybe?
Yeah. I think he can be that joker. I think he can be the guy that replaces the Sam in situations where you're in 11 personnel. When the offense in 11 personnel and they may have a bigger third receiver, he can come in and be a good run stopper. He can be the kind of guy who can cover up the middle. He can move back to safety if you want, and you can bring down a bigger body if you want. I think that's what they're looking for in him. If he can be that joker, if he can be a guy who can be very difficult to keep off the football field.
That's why joker is actually a good thing to be.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
And
it is.
You talked about the safeties too. Jeremy Chin, he's had a really good offseason. You've seen him just kind of flying around all over the field. And in the media day, he talked about how Clint Kubiak wants another leader to emerge in the secondary.
Yeah.
Could he be that guy?
He could. And speaking with him, he talked a lot about that because he has been that versatile player for his whole career, basically. He's always been a guy you can line up at multiple positions on the football field. And now he spoke, just about that, about, hey, I can get into the corner room and talk about, hey, man, I played leverage this way, and this is how it works out for the young guys. He's played the free safety, the strong safety. Last year he covered so many guys. You don't want to see him in that position a lot, but he did it all. And that's a great opportunity to lead other young guys because you've been in those situations.
I was going to ask you, how could he elevate himself to that standard? But I guess just by being that leader and going into the room, experience.
Yeah, that's what it is. And in my career, you come in as a young player, and hopefully you have a player who's had that experience, and you can just watch him. And it was, Roynell Young was a player who actually played in the Super Bowl against the Raiders. Yeah. And one of my favorite players, Cliff Branch, beat him on a touchdown. Yeah. So I get drafted in '88. I get to the Eagles, and that's the first thing I said. Roynell, hey man, you get him a touchdown.
Cliff
I didn't know anything, but Cliff got him.
Cliff got a lot of people.
Yeah, he did. But.
All right, I wanted you to hear a little bit of that because I listened to it. I thought it was so good. And I was chopping it up with EA, and that's how I'm prepping for the season before camp starts. I've been talking to Levi Edwards a lot about his breakdowns of the coaching staff. And EA, Eric Allen, is really locked in. I mean, he's been doing a lot in the offseason. He's really locked in on this roster, and we'll be on the broadcast together in the preseason. Excited for that. Mikey in Staten, Italy, which sport has the craziest sports parents?
Well, JT, coming as a police officer, I volunteered a lot of time umping different sports, baseball, basketball, and baseball. And JT, it's not even close. The biggest problems with parents is everybody thinks their kid or son or daughter is going to be a major league player or a professional player at a young age. And it's less than 1% of 1%. So then you got to go to what sport gives the most that the kid could blame, the parents could blame on other people other than their son's lack of talent, to say it the best way. And without a doubt, it's baseball, because the umpire is involved in every pitch, calling balls and strikes, trying to teach the kids that. So when the kid doesn't do well, or if he strikes out, the parent goes nuts, not on the kid. Well, he goes after the volunteers or very low-paid umpires in the Babe Ruth leagues or the Little Leagues. You see it now with this with the Little League World Series. Those kids are throwing 65 and 70 miles an hour. Their arms are going to fall off. They're throwing curveballs. But what's the biggest complaint? It's not the other team and the other. All the parents can unite on that team. Maybe there's one good kid, but all the teams afterwards are going to dinner or going to Applebee's, and they blame it on the
Yeah,
umpire.
but what about these soccer parents? I'm hearing, because the soccer's been front and center, I'm hearing a lot of these parents in soccer are nuts. They're whack because they're spending more money on their sport and club soccer and all this, and they're running up and down the sidelines and they're berating these kids. Are you hearing about that too, youth soccer?
Yeah, but not again. I'm a New York City guy. I never watched a youth soccer game. Never went to see my high school play soccer, because I can just tell you with the big four sports, JT, it's baseball. It's not even close. You know, and everybody has a camp in baseball, just like it is soccer. You said it the best. We got to get the secret sauce. If the parents would put into what they do with baseball, you have a hitting coach, you have a pitching coach. Girls softball, they send them to these camps to teach them how to pitch and all of that. It's this. You could take out European soccer, and I'll put up the crazy parents in Little, and you know what better. You were a coach in Little League. Yeah. You know how crazy the parents get. They want their kids to play all 9 innings. You got to get everybody in. You lose a game because you got a kid that hasn't developed. Again, I don't know nothing about the soccer, but I'm going to tell you it's the baseball without a doubt.
Yes, and I have. Thanks, Mikey, for the call. Always good. I'm getting calls from Manhattan, not from Vegas. That's how it works here on this show. I get calls from San Francisco, L.A., Manhattan. We're based in Vegas. And this is a big topic for Vegas. So if you live in Vegas, we have a local number, 702-365-9200, on this topic. I will go even farther than that in baseball. The craziest thing I've ever seen was All-Stars. That was it. That was the craziest thing I've ever seen. The politics of some of these psychos trying to get their kids on the All-Star team. So if your kid was going to make the All-Star team at 12 years old, I saw some dads working the coaches at 9. They knew that guy was going to be coaching All-Stars at 12, and they were buddying up with that guy with a kid who wasn't good enough to be an All-Star, and they got the kid on the team. That's the craziest thing I've seen in baseball, All-Stars. Not travel team, you pay to play. You're on a travel team, you pay. Your kid plays. That's it. Little League, you play Little League. Either play or you don't. All-Stars is where these moms and dads go off the reservation. That's where they lose their bleeping mind, and they'll do anything for their kid to get on the All-Star team. It's crazy, and I saw it front and center. 702-365-9200. When we come back, we'll wrap it up. Got a lot more to tell you about here. I want to thank Tommy White and the 872 Laborers, one of our longest tenured partners here on the show. Tommy White and his team, they build this city on time and on budget. The story of the 872, it lives on year-round for me. I'm always talking about it. I'm shaking their hands, and I'm thanking the 872, proud partners of our show.
To the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by the DeCasta Verde Law Group. If you get injured in an accident, call 702-222-9999.
Love them, and you can always love them before and after.
Shotgun snap. He's looking down the middle. There's some pressure. He gobbled up and sacked again. Crosby cleaned up the hit. Laulu first through. Herbert tried to sneak up the middle, and Crosby with his second half sack of the ball game, his second sack today.
Max is doing well. I had a chance to hang out with Rachel and Max at the Max Crosby Foundation, and Max sent me a beautiful gift to the house that my buddy Bert brought me. A nice artwork piece of a beautiful football. The artwork was Max Crosby. Max signed by him. Beautiful piece from my collection. So thanks again to Max Crosby and Rachel Crosby and everything they do, because they do a great job with their foundation. Quickly, the milestone home run for Shohei Ohtani. This was a big deal because I don't know how many home runs he's going to hit. I don't think he's going to catch Ruth and Bonds, but he has a chance to do it. He's that special of a player. Here's Ohtani.
2-0, swung on, drilled deep to center field. It is back. It is gone. Home run number 300 for Shohei Ohtani.
That was Tim Neverett on the call. Quick story for Clay and I. We worked with Tim Neverett when, Clay, back in the 90s at Sports Fan Radio Network, and he called the 300th home run of a guy who probably will go down as the greatest baseball player ever.
I mean, you're talking about an all-timer up there in the name of Ruth and Mantle.
Absolutely.
He's one of the very few that you'll ever say, can you arguably be the best of all time?
Yeah, and the fact that he was able to call a home run for Ohtani as the voice of the Dodgers, one of the voices for the Dodgers, are incredible. I would like to call a touchdown for Mendoza in the preseason. I don't know if he's going to play in the preseason. I don't know. Do I know if you play the first pick overall in a preseason game? I would think if he's not going to start, you'd get him some preseason reps. I'm not sure about that. But I hope when I'm on the call, he gets one of those. That would be really cool to see. And then the Messi goal, which was brilliant. As they were trailing, Messi got an assist to make it 2-1, and then Argentina came back with the equalizer.
Trying to link the play again using Lionel Messi. Deflection there on the way through. And can they line something up here, Argentina? Oh, it's gone in. It's 2-2. And who else? Lionel Messi, the savior for Argentina.
That is amazing. That was a great game. That was... Look, I have a lot of depth watching England soccer games, Premier League. I don't have a lot of depth in World Cup games. That was the greatest World Cup finish I've ever seen. Argentina down 2-0 to come back and win 3-2 was amazing. That was brilliant, as they say. It was fantastic. So I really enjoyed that. I got a brand new podcast up with my podcast partner, Looney, JT and Looney. Wherever you get your podcast, please take a look on that. The stream. We'll have new streams coming tomorrow. You can find that at JT the Brick YT. We have a stream that is right here. And we love the fact that the stream is right here. Please be a part of that. And Clay, do you have our word of the day? Do you have it there in front of you? Can you grab it? What would that be?
It's breeze. Breeze.
Yes.
Breeze.
Like our buddy Cool Breeze.
Our favorite guy.
We were just talking about that. And tell everybody how they could be a part of that and breeze and be a part and text in right now.
From 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, text in the word of the day. We hear it on the morning show at 7:40. Today, text in the word breeze, and you can get a chance to win a all expenses paid trip to the Big Apple, to New York, 3 nights in Manhattan.
God, I could use that. I got to go see my family. I'd like to be on that trip. I am confirmed I'll be on the Raiders trip to New York to see the Jets. That's my road trip this year. Maybe more if they win more games, but the Jet game is the roadie I'm taking this year. Looking forward to that one. Q's ready to roll. Q's got a great show, as he always does. I am out of here. We got one more show tomorrow. I'm off on Friday, so check it out here. If you miss any portion of the show, lvsportsnetwork.com. Thanks a lot for listening, everybody. I'm off to CCon, the big conference down over at the Bellagio this year. And we'll see our friends over at CCon with Syracuse and UNLV. Keynote speech coming up at 4 o'clock, and I'll be there for that. Have a great day, everybody.